Hey yo guys, I'm back here to give you my review of last night's HBO boxing pay-per-view of East versus West, Manny Pacquiao versus Ricky Hatton. Overall, I gotta say that the pay-per-view was good. The main event, while it definitely did live up to what we expected, it was also something we completely unexpected on how Manny Pacquiao officially proved that that man is #1 in the world in boxing. But how much on another level he was. I mean, yeah, Ring Magazine ranked him #1, and at the time he was taking on the #8 best pound for pound fighter in the world in Ricky Hatton. But damn, that was just a boxing clinic out there. I mean, there's no real other way to describe it. I remember laughing at people who were saying, oh, Pacquiao will win it decisively and easily. I'm like, no, Hatton's a really talented fighter. He's gonna win a couple rounds, and it's gonna be a real decisive fight, and it's gonna be an instant classic. It was an instant classic, but not the way we thought it was. But anyways, I'm actually gonna review basically the whole card, not go 100% in depth in all of these. I watched the whole pay-per-view. Once again, I think HBO does a smash-up job on their pay-per-views, production value-wise, your commentators. You have Jim Lampley, who to me is the best at, any sport, to do any sport, basically. I mean, Jim is a big fan of boxing, which helps him a lot, because he actually pays attention to what goes on, and he's not fed a bunch of stuff, which is a big helper. Plus, this dude's been doing the Olympics for years, so he's a true broadcaster. And for someone like me who's getting into college for broadcasting stuff, I think he's just a fantastic guy. Plus, he has, great chemistry with Larry Merchant and Emmanuel Stewart, so I like that. I mean, that's a great chemistry for him there. I wish George Foreman was back there still, but Emmanuel does fine. The only gripe I have for boxing pay-per-views, and this is it, because we all know everyone is hyped for the main event, and to me, boxing, when they sell you a main event, that is fantastic. And they do a great job of it. They make it seem like the most important thing in the world, and especially with this fight, which it really was. But to me, a boxing pay-per-view could have maybe some more stars on the undercard to make, not only the people, to make the live gate people, come in on time and not, be late or anything like that. Because I think that's what mixed martial arts has over boxing on the pay-per-view side, is that they have, guys that you want to see who fight on the undercard and are not the main event. I think that's something interesting. I mean, I like how boxing brings it up where they're trying to hype up, some young up-and-comers by giving them a big break on not only just HBO, but HBO pay-per-view. But I think let's throw some real star name values out there and have some real compelling fights. I mean, yeah, you put Soto on here, but still, let's get more than Soto. Let's get more people like that. That's just my thoughts there. And yeah, let's get them with evenly matched opponents. But anyways, I've been rambling here for 3 minutes or so, so let's review the card. So we started the evening off with a junior middleweight bout. 4 rounds. It was Erislandy, Lara versus Chris Gray. Now, for those of you who haven't seen Erislandy Lara, he was showcased on the very first episode of ESPN's Friday Night Fights for this season. He's been on there twice. In his last appearance on there, this man absolutely decimated Keith Gross. I mean, this was just stunning to see him do that. He's a big Cuban prospect, and actually him along with Gamboa looked like they could do some real damage along the line. Chris Gray's another tough fighter, but he was just outclassed in this one. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but I mean, Lara wanted to probably finish it off early. He likes the first round knockout, but he didn't get it, so he just basically cruised his way to a decision, unanimous one at that, so I thought that was great. I'd like to see more of Erislandy Lara in maybe an 8-round bout or a 6-round bout. Let's see what he can do going on, because I think these 4-round bouts are just, I know they're trying to build him up, but let's try and push him going. Let's get him past the 4-round bouts now. I think he's really, really improved from that point on. Then we went to the next fight, which was a middleweight bout, where we had Matvey Korobov take on Anthony Bartinelli. This one was basically another guy getting outclassed, and that was Korobov. absolutely outclassed him. And this man had some serious power in his hands. I mean, he knocked down Bartinelli in the first round, making it a 10-8, and he even like threw a beautiful right cross that, you know, knocked Bartinelli's mouthpiece, you know, past press row. So that was, I know, a pretty important thing. It's not that Bartinelli's a bad fighter, it's just that he was met by a guy that's, you know, classes a better. So I'm really looking forward to see more of Korobov, actually. You know, he just started his career. He's, you know, now 5-0. Maybe down the line we could potentially see him up against Lara or, you know, someone else. I mean, I would like to see someone like this get a true test. I mean, I know like, it's very early, maybe in a couple, like maybe 10 or 5, between 5 or 10 fights. Let's get him a real tough opponent in there. Absolutely great showing there for Korobov. Really, to me, he had the best fight on the undercard. So that just goes to show how really talented he is. Then we had the next fight, which was a middleweight bout between Daniel Jacobs as well, taking on Michael the Stalker Walker. This fight, of course, was supposed to be Michael Walker versus James Kirkland, but of course what happened with Kirkland a couple weekends ago where he got arrested for violating parole for possession of a weapon. Very unfortunate there. To me, I thought if they could have had this fight, I would have actually had Jacobs take on Kirkland. I like Jacobs. I like Kirkland. Let's see what they can do. Jacobs is another guy that likes to finish a fight early. In order to get there, he had to win on Friday Night Fights 2 weeks ago now, and he had to win within, I believe, 6, and he knocked his opponent out in 2, so he got to be on this pay-per-view, and he didn't know that, which, you know, to me, I like that strategy. If, you know, why add extra pressure on a fighter when, you know, they're trying to get a win on a big national television network? Why tell him he has to win early so he can be on a pay-per-view? Really, in this fight, showed how smart a fighter that Jacobs is. Jacobs has a strong amateur background, but he showed that he's not only got a strong amateur background, he's a good boxer and has great power, but he's a smart fighter because, you know, he tried to finish Walker off in the early goings, realized he couldn't do it, and realized how much of a better fighter he was than him. So then he basically just cruised to a decision. This was 8 rounds. Really, I like Jacobs. I mean, definitely I've seen him on Friday Night Fights. While he was on the Pacquiao De La Hoya undercard, decimating an opponent as well. If you remember that undercard, every fight ended like really early, and we had to wait an hour of, you know, Lampley and crew talking. But anyways, Jacobs just cruised to this, you know, a decision. Really like Jacobs. Like I said, let's see if we can get that Kirkland fight going there. Maybe one day, if Pavlik hasn't retired, that Jacobs could be a contender for him. Maybe a Jacobs-Rubio fight. I don't know. I'm just saying, let's get some Jacobs some true competition here, because I think Jacobs is ready for it. Then we went to the first title fight of the evening. It was the WBC Super Featherweight Championship 12-round fight. It was Humberto Soto versus Benoit Gaudet. Now this fight, you know, a lot of people predicted Gaudet to get in there and just get decimated by Soto. That really didn't happen. I'm actually very much impressed with the French-Canadian fighter in Gaudet. Excuse me. As you know, I think the knockdown that happened in the first round was more a nervous thing. He was, you know, still pretty nervous, and, you know, he did leave himself open on the side of his face. He got hit, and he was coming, you know, stepping back. He may have tripped over his feet. I don't know. I don't think it was really much of a power punch. I think it was just a flash knockdown, as, you know, Gaudet was still in the fight. They won a round, in my opinion. Really, I think the thing that's pretty amazing is that Soto realized that that punch maybe didn't finish him, or he couldn't, you know, finish him off. So he just lost his confidence or something. I don't know what happened, but Gaudet completely confused him and started to actually look pretty good in there. You know, maybe not enough to win all the rounds. I mean, definitely one run, but not to win rounds. But still, he looked pretty good, and definitely, you know, the loss he had, yeah, he lost by a TKO, but still, I don't think that should affect his ranking overall. I think, you know, he's a still strong fighter. But one of the gripes I'll have, like, it was the champion, the WBC Super Featherweight champion versus the number 9 guy. Since when are number 9 guys getting title shots? I think that's something that boxing should fix. You know, let's make it be, you know, one 5 at the latest, you know. If you're not in 5, why are you getting a title shot? That's just my gripe, but still Gaudet proved that he was actually a valuable opponent. I'm not trying to knock Gaudet, I'm just still, you're the number 9 guy. You technically really don't deserve a title shot. But anyways, like I said earlier, Soto eventually got his act together and finished off Gaudet via TKO. So, I was really impressed with the refereeing all night. I have to say that, like in the Korobov fight, Bartinelli was just, you know, taking too much of a punishment. He didn't even go down in the second. The ref's like, no, we're going to stop this. You can live to fight another day, or, you know, just to save your future. I thought that was a pretty good thing there. Then, of course, we went to the main event, which is the fight everyone wanted to see. It was Mr. Pacman, Manny Pacquiao versus Ricky the Hitman Hatton. You know, I thought the thing that made this, you know, this fight show how great boxing is the international flair. Like, think of it this way. It's a fight taking place in America with 2 guys who aren't even American. You know, a guy from the Philippines and a guy from the UK. Or from England, whatever you want to say. Like, that to me just shows how amazing boxing... I think it's great to show how far boxing's come, because I bet you a lot of people would have been like, oh, I'm not paying money to see this, or why do I care? They're not American. Like, that's just something I think reflects bad on the people, or sometimes of the sport. But, you know, this sport is such an international flair, which is something that I feel that mixed martial arts lacks. Like, there's tons of guys from all over the world, like whether it's Canada, whether it's England, whether it's Brazil. You know, I mean, yeah, they have that feel, but they don't have as big of a feel as it does with boxing. I think it definitely could. Definitely could have that feel. I mean, when they go to England, they, you know, they're all for their, you know, the UK fighters. You know, when they go to Canada, they're all for the Canadian fighters. But, you know, they really don't show as much respect as the boxing fans do. So I was just gonna say, but anyway, this fight was just incredible. I mean, who in the blue hell thought that Manny Pacquiao was going to decimate Ricky Hatton the way he did? Like, basically, Ricky came, you know, they both come out, and, you know, Hatton tries to, you know, fight by clinching and stuff, and referee Bayless is just like, no, we're not going to let that happen, and that's what I thought would be a factor. If Ricky's going to try that, the last time he tried that in Vegas against Mayweather, the refs made sure that didn't happen. Referee Bayless didn't let that happen here at all. So that's, you know, like I said, it was ring geography as well. In my prediction video, I said in ring geography, if Ricky can't get Manny up against the ropes or in the corner, he's going to be in trouble. And exactly where he was. They were in the center of the ring. Pacquiao slipped this right cross in there. Ricky never saw it coming. And he, you know, he got dropped. He gets back up. He eventually got rocked again. I mean, like, he flew from the midway part of the ring to the one corner and the second knockdown. I mean, this was just absolutely astonishing. Ricky's probably not going to make it past 5 now. So I was like, this is going to be bad. And then the second round gets going. Looks like Ricky may actually have gotten his composure. You know, he made it out of the round by, you know, taking his time, and, you know, the bell rang. You know, it looked like he may have got it. He actually hit a couple nice punches in there. But then it happened. They're in the center ring. Ricky throws another punch. Manny delivers the perfect punch. I mean, you couldn't have thrown a better punch ever. And Ricky went down like he died. Like someone had thrown a rock at him in the ring. Like the way he fell, his body wasn't in sync. Let's just say, like, his legs were going one way, his arms were going the other. And not only that, when his head hit the mat, it just went boom, like it platted. And you knew he was in trouble when that head hit, and his arms like flew over his head and back down like he was on a roller coaster from the G-force. That was a scary knockdown. I'm like, Ricky may not be getting up for this. So Pacquiao basically was just like, Ricky, go to your room, and he just boom, and that was it. That was it for Ricky Hatton. So where do you go from here? So Manny Pacquiao decimates the number 8 fighter in the world within 2 rounds, which no one in their right mind thought happened. I mean, no one. Everyone thought it would be maybe a knockout from Pacquiao in 6 at the earliest. I thought it was going to be a decision for Pacquiao, or razor close, or he would have, you know, TKO'd him like how Mayweather did, where Pacquiao or Hatton just kind of gassed towards the end and he just left himself open. I mean, there was no head movement from Hatton in this fight whatsoever. I thought that's what he trained with Floyd Mayweather Sr. to do, but no, that didn't happen. So he got dropped, and a lot of people are saying retire. from my standpoint, I look at it two ways. When you look at that blow that he took, not only from the punch, but from the mat, maybe he could, but to me, I think he should maybe have one more fight against Junior Witter. I think that should just be his last fight. You know, Witter wants to fight him. I think it would be a great fight for the British fans. I think definitely Hatton would win. He could then retire and go off on a high note in his home country. That's how I feel. But now we have, of course, everyone's now talking about Pacquiao versus Mayweather. Everyone's already overlooking Marquez, whatever. I apologize if I mispronounced it the first time. Marquez. I don't think we should be doing that. You are aware that this Juan Manuel Marquez has had the Fight of the Year this year with Juan Diaz on HBO, so let's not overlook that. I mean, people are already looking for it. They're basically saying that Marquez is a tune-up fight for Mayweather. I wouldn't go that far. Marquez is a hell of a boxer, so I really wouldn't want to go that far. But still, I mean, just the potential of Pacquiao-Mayweather, that right there should be everyone's Christmas gift. I think this fight should happen in December, maybe January 2010, but still, boxing has a potential fight that MMA can't even come close to topping. I mean, you have, look at UFC 100. You have 3 great fights on there, but nothing compares to the magnitude of just the fact that it could happen with Mayweather and Pacquiao. That just right there screams buy rate. I will put my money down to buy that one. That's going to be a hell of a fight. Really, it's great to see Mayweather come back. A lot of people say, oh, we should be fighting, you know, Mosley or what have you, but I think, you know, this Marquez fight's going to be really good. Then he'll probably go to Pacquiao, and we'll see who's the true #1 guy in the world. That's what I really hope. I mean, not trying to knock Marquez or anything, but I just really want Mayweather to win this fight. Really, I do. Hopefully his retirement from Mayweather isn't like when Sugar Ray retired and he got, you know, knocked down in the first fight. And back, he eventually came on to win, but still, I mean, he retired after that. Hopefully we don't get anything like that. You know, let's hope to God it is eventually the fight where we all are excited for, like, you know, the builds for Hagler versus Leonard, what have you. Any great boxing fight, I think that'll be there. So, anyways, that's it for me. You can just tell I'm really excited to see the potential of that. I think that has to take place in December. Having July, Mayweather versus Marquez. But still, I mean, if you've seen HBO's lineup for boxing, Jesus Christ, that's some good stuff. I mean, you have, I believe it's this weekend. You know, a fight I'm really not looking forward to in Bad Chad Dawson versus Antonio Tarver, because I think Dawson's just really good, and I feel bad that we have to have this rematch. But you have, you know, a heavyweight fight that a lot of people should be looking forward to, because, you know, I don't think David Haye will beat Vladimir Klitschko, but still, just the potential of it. If he wins, he has truly made heavyweight boxing extremely exciting again. I mean, plus he's a British guy, and you know, you just had Ricky Hatton get killed, so that's just what I'm saying. I mean, you know, British people, you still have, you know, your hopes. You still got Golf Rock. You still got, you know, depending on how Haye does, I still think Haye could go back to cruiserweight and be really successful. You know, you got Amir Khan. Yeah, he may not have the best chin, but still, the man's got superstar potential. So, I mean, I wouldn't really be upset about the whole boxing scene there, so that's just my opinions. Anyways, that's it for me. I really didn't plan to go this long, but I mean, what else is on HBO? Well, holy shit. What else is on? I mean, there's just a ton of them. I mean, July with Mayweather, Marquez, the weekend after UFC 100. So, you know, UFC got a lucky break that Mayweather isn't fighting the same day as you guys, because that would have taken a massive chunk out of your pay-per-view buy rates. So, anyways, that's it for me. I'm out. Peace.